The good news. No, I don't think we have any good news here.
The good news is we're done.
Yeah.
Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right.
So, Donna, if you thought things could not get any worse.
So you should never, ever think that about anything.
That's true. That's true. So we're going to be talking about AI today running an entire attack. Now, you and I have kind of talked about this already. Like, it's coming. At some point, it'll happen. It's just a matter of time. Well, I think the matter of time is upon us.
Yeah. The fact that they were able to track it down to every little move in the logs of what this, well, this one example we'll cover from Anthropic's report. But yeah, it's pretty ingenious too, how it was done. But I think even they were like, wow. A little overwhelmed. And I know I was when I was reading it. I'm like, and then they did what?
Yeah. So, I'm going to throw this out there early on in today's podcast episode for those who can't make it to the end. The thing that scares me the most, you and I were talking about this before we hit record. The thing that scares me the most is not the level of sophistication and frequency and everything of the attack, which is what we most talk about. What scares me the most is that people are not paying attention to what they should have been doing years ago. Mm-hmm. They're still not doing what we've been talking about for a decade. And yet the timeline for attacks and cyber threats, all that has been increased by 100-fold, 1,000-fold. I don't know. It's like it's skyrocketed, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. And at the same time, you've got people going, well, I mean, I've got antivirus. we still have companies that's like, I don't use MFA yet. I'm like, and there's no reason, like, it's not costing you anything to turn MFA on. And yet you're still not doing it.
Yeah. At some point, it'll just be something that's always required. You don't have an option.
Yeah.
We're not going to, the biometrics, hopefully, making everybody pay attention a little better. But, as that will become your MFA, but still, people don't even like to do that.
No. And I do think vendors are going to have to start forcing it, not enforcing it, forcing it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that in the MSP space now, where MSPs are saying, you're going to have, this level of security, you're going to have MFA, you're going to have cyber insurance, you're going to have these things, or you go find somebody else to work with you, because we're not willing to take the risk and not going to take the ride with you because you just don't take it seriously enough. So it's coming.
Clearly you take this more seriously than I do.
Yeah. But, I don't expect people to have, like, I'm not coming to a new client expecting you to do everything all at once, but I do expect you to do the easy stuff, the low hanging fruit. And I don't expect you to push back on it when I say, oh, by the way, we need to turn on MFA on all of your 365 accounts. And if the answer is no, we're not going to do that. I really have to question whether or not we're going to be a good fit at that point.
Or at least make it clear that if you don't do this and someone does get into those accounts, you get charged double time.
Yeah. Well, I usually tell them, it's your business decision, but just understand I will be testifying against you in court. I will throw you under the bus if asked, because I am giving you the opportunity to do the right thing.
Yes, and you're choosing not to participate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, this is our concern is that you're already not protecting yourself, and the criminals are getting more and more sophisticated, more and more tools where they don't even have to have any technical skills.
No.
None. And I don't think people understand that. It's not these high tech folks anymore.
No.
It doesn't require it. So let's explain how someone used Claude, which is another AI tool for those who may not know about Anthropic Claude. It's certainly one you can check out. All of them have strengths and weaknesses, but this is one of the top ones out there. You always look to see what the big guys are doing, but at any rate, it granted. Now, this was a rabbit hole. The minute I saw it, I was like, I don't have time to do this right now, but I've got to know. But they released a report that they periodically do these security reports and talk about the patterns that they see and AI powered fraud. And because they're using AI, then things like the romance scam, it's like they can learn about you in a way they never knew before just by saying, here, go find all this person's social media. Tell me, what I could use to trick them. And any AI. So, it could be used the same regardless of whether it was Claude or any of the others. But they all try to write logic in to catch these kinds of things. But how do you if you're going to let it actually do the things? It's kind of like, in order for me to allow the computer to run at all, I have to say, okay, there's all these security problems, but we need the computer, right? And since this article came out, you said you saw another one where it was AI ran, everything was done by an automated agent that went and found things and did things. So you saw another one, not just this one, right? Already?
Yeah, this one was the first AI-powered ransomware has been discovered. And this is basically where the AI is creating all of it and doing the entire campaign.
And that was actually malware, though, right?
Yeah.
Because this guy wasn't even doing malware. There was nothing. That's what I'm saying. There was zero. And I do like the fact that, they're in there figuring it out, but they're telling us what's going on so that we can educate people, make better business decisions, hopefully. But, it is from them, but don't think, oh, well, I don't use that one. It is all AI, could have the potential to create this environment. But overall, so I don't know how often we've tried to explain agentic AI, but
a few times.
A few times. Just imagine that you can, I saw somebody use a definition that said you have a brand new office assistant and you just tell them, go get the, information and we need to streamline this process, for example. Well, agentic AI, you just point out the process and tell it we need to streamline it. And it's possible to have it where not only will it go, it doesn't come back to you to say, well, here's what I found. What do you want to do?
Right. Yeah. Like normal AI, people ask a question, they get feedback, or they say, do something and they get a response back, whatever. It's kind of a one-to-one thing. With agentic AI, it's that the AI agent has the ability to connect to multiple other different platforms, and it's doing tasks. So you can say, as you mentioned, go out and create this process, and it'll go out and it'll connect to all these other tools you told it to connect to. It looks at everything that you've asked it to do and pulls from the best tools that it has available to it, and then comes back and says, all right, I'm done here.
It takes the action on its own. It makes the decisions and takes the action. So you don't have to coach them through it. They're doing it. And so you've got these and they're being weaponized.
Mm-hmm.
And second, because of these, it lowers the barrier. I don't even know that there is a barrier. It's kind of like one you could hop over, without much.
Yeah. It used to be a fence. Now it's just a line in the sand.
Yeah. That's how different it is. And because they're seeing it in every step of the way, it's not just, they're writing malware with it, which is really one of the things we discussed. Wow, they're going to be writing malware and they're going to be, but they are doing every step of the way using these tools, and they are then able to do fraud at scale.
Oh, yeah.
So while in 2023, not 2003, 2023, Verizon DBIR, Data Breach Report, that it actually said, despite the hype, we're not seeing it being used yet. And we're like, that's not going to take long. Well, here we are. It should have been not yet. We aren't seeing it yet, but we're expecting to see it because we knew.
I will say that was way back in 2023 when they said that, though.
long time ago. Yeah, a long time ago. But we knew they were just, figuring out how to do it. And AI was still, as far as these bots and our ability to do things, it was still kind of in its infancy as far as the general availability and being out in the wild where everyone could use it. So,
yeah.
But no, these people hit 17 victims before they were able to figure it out and stop them, including some in healthcare.
Yep.
And I thought this was cool because it did break out. These are we always do the 5 steps to doing 7 steps to doing an SRA or this or that. These are the 5 phases of a cyber crime fraud, because it takes you from we don't know anything, we have an idea, all the way through give me some money and getting the money, each of the steps. So the phase 1 is recon and target discovery. Mm-hmm. Now, we were talking earlier about the fact that it went after VPN endpoints. What do you think? Why would they want to do that? They're out there just scanning, looking for VPN endpoints.
Yeah, I mean, one would assume traffic going over VPN is probably more juicier traffic.
If it's on a VPN, it might be more important.
It might be, but having a whole discussion about VPNs is probably something we can do in near future.
Yeah, we've done it before, but yeah. But the important thing is they were using that to just get a list of all these things, organize it by country and technology, and then sort it to figure out high value targets. But then they gave it a configuration in the AI tool itself, and it gave it preferred tactics and a cover story about it was doing authorized testing. So if somebody saw it and their program asked it a question, it was able to respond back. But interestingly enough, it was instructed to operate in Russian, stay stealth, and execute. Don't ask me for confirmation. Just go do your thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, doo-dee-doo. I'll go have a few shots of vodka. And then it gets to phase 2, where it does real-time network intrusions, where it scans, it finds these, it scans, looks for all these things, pulls out, harvests the credentials, and uses Active Directory and privilege, all of those things that people do when they get into a network.
Yeah, I mean, so really, if you look at phase 1 and phase 2, it's kind of like you're starting to do your own risk assessment, right? Like you're doing reconnaissance, which is basically you're looking for everything, looking for all your assets. So you need an asset inventory, software inventory, all that. And then you go, okay, how can people get initial access? And now you're looking at your risk management. So how can you protect the areas that people can potentially get into?
Mm-hmm. And it also then wanted to figure out where were the leadership workstations and confidential information, where were those kept when it was doing its initial exploitation, looking its way around, figuring everything out. So 1 and 2, it just went and did it and said, oh, this must be accounting. This must be, a manager or something based on the traffic and the data it found on the machines. And I'm like, so first of all, it's gone out, it's found the targets, sorted them into the high priority, taken the high priority, began doing scans or whatever to look for ways to get in. Then it got in, stole the privilege accounts and escalated privileges, figured out who the leadership was, where all the good stuff was, and then it started doing customized components.
Wow.
I mean, it would write its own little proxies from scratch. It would figure it out. And this was one of the conversations we were having in one of the HSCC task groups was, if we have the AI write the code, we have the AI evaluate its code, we have it create its own test cases, then it runs them, tells us how it's doing, helps us find its errors. When it's deployed, what if an attacker just simply says, what are your weaknesses? Because it already knows.
Yeah.
And that's essentially it. It just went out there and said, here's all the things, and I'm going to do all of this. And it added multiple layers of evasion because it knew how to build them.
Yeah.
And fallback options. If this fails, then go try this way. I'm like, so far, it's just been doing this on its own, finding its way through. And then once it finds the good stuff, that's when it gets juicy. That it can automatically find sensitive data and pull it out. Probably better than we can.
I was about to say that exact thing. If we could just figure out how to do that, because you go to organizations and you're like, where's your sensitive data? I don't know. I don't have any. I can promise you there's none here. And you're like, yeah, there's always some there. But there are tools that can do this, but they are either expensive or there's not a lot of them out there, especially in the smaller market. Mm-hmm. I dealt with this recently with, hey, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of sensitive information might be in this particular inbox. And there's not a lot of options for that. You can do it, but there's not a lot of options for it.
Well, but now AI, I can now go in with our Google Workspace and say to Gemini, tell me any emails that were important that I didn't reply to that I should have in the last 4 days. Tell me anything if I missed a deadline. Tell me this, and it'll just go read through everything and know, which is also something that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. So that means every email I send you, it says, it's important. It's important.
And then it realizes, oh no, it's just David.
False positive.
Anyway, so now it's done all of this so far on its own. And then it's now identified this data, whether it's medical records, whatever, categorizes them, sorts them, analyzes the data to determine the financial value and what would be the best strategy for extortion.
Wow.
So it did all of that. So you still are only one person. Where that would usually take a team. You're just one person now. Mm-hmm. See, so everybody worries about it taking their job. It's also taking hackers' jobs.
These poor hackers. They're gonna have to go to work for IT companies.
They all gonna be working for themselves, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it figures out.
To your point, I heard a guy talking today, and I actually heard it several times, that it's just a matter of time before AI enables there to be the very first $1 billion one-person company.
Yeah.
just because it gives that person. There's already one person companies making $10 million.
Mm.
One person. So
Wow.
imagine that. Now we're talking, normal commerce and companies, but it's the same thing with the bad guys. One person can do so much because they're AI enabled.
Well, they're not actually doing anything. they're just telling
They're
the
just
AI how to
supervising.
do it. Yeah. But I mean, I know how much more productive it can, how much it helps me get things done.
Yeah. Well, we joke about supervising, but there are things called supervisor AI agents that
Mhm.
supervise the sub agents. I mean, it's crazy. When you start going down the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
you start.
It's nuts. But it's the same concept. You had to have a supervisor handling all these different tasks that these different agents are doing. But I mean, imagine they're attacking multiple sites at one time and all of these different things are going on. And the fact that it figures out what's got the best value and what's the most effective way for me to scare you into paying me.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, there's more.
Of course.
So we're up to phase 4, which is the exfiltration, right? So you got recon and target, identify your targets, then the initial access, get the credentials, then you're deploying and avoiding detection and, getting your information. Now they'll take the data, pull it out, and do a victim profile so that they know what to do. But then it generates an HTML ransom note with specific financial details and regulatory threats. So it knew HIPAA, it knew this, it knew that, and created its deadlines, an escalating penalty, i.e., ransom amount based on time, and then sector-specific intimidation tactics.
So it's basically taking the whole spray and pray campaigns, but
Mhm.
making it function as if it's spearfishing.
Yeah, pretty much. So then, not only that, but it created multiple ways that you could monetize this stolen data. I can ransom, from the organization. I can sell it on markets, or, and this is the part that really bothers me, individual extortion of high value victims. So I've got information about people in this data, and now I'm going to go after them. But then they built, it's like a profit plan. No profit sharing, profit plan, so that it would maximize the potential earnings per victim.
Wow.
So it figures all that out, creates it, and then the ransom notes include sample files because it took it. So now we're in the threat delivery and pressure campaign. Phase 6. That's the
I wonder
end.
if I can hire these people to do my marketing and sales.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, but then it, creates a proof of compromise, identifies the consequences like, regulatory disclosure. We're going to tell people, we're going to send this out to the media, your competitors. We're going to shut you down because we have control. We can shut you down or destroy the data. And they say, we've got full access and here's all the damage we can do unless you pay us. All of that with AI.
Wow.
And the thing is that, like, because it customized the amount, if it looked and said, well, these people, they don't have, all the folks that I don't have much, but I can't afford being exposed out on the media or whatever. Well, $70,000 is what your is, but it could be $500,000. It went between that far of a range to figure out across 17 different victims how it got there.
So what are we supposed to do?
How do I get to the amount of money that you will pay me?
Right.
So it's definitely here. No doubt about it. Thumbs up, TikTok. Boom.
Yeah.
But that was one person doing all of that. It's not just helping us anymore. It's not like, go write this program for me and now I'm going to go do the work to get it. It's doing all of it. So they did put mitigation in place, and so they banned all known attacker accounts. So if they're keeping a list, and if it's some sort of thing, they've got it where you ban those. They created a new classifier to detect coordinated abuse. So all of these were written independently. They didn't look like something, on your own. It did look like a penetration test, maybe. On its own, it did look like we were looking for the data, because we should be able to use these tools now to scan these networks and find the data just like they are using AI.
Yeah.
So they see it when, you remember, you and I were just talking about how somebody demanded that they let in this email that y'all told them you thought wasn't legit. And oh no, we know it is. And then the attacker gets in because you told them not to, but it had to see like 3 things in a row to know it was the attacker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So same thing you're going to have here. It's got to see that coordinated effort. So, if you have them where they have different logins for each section, anyway. They integrated new detection methods into their enforcement system, meaning we're not going to tell you, but we put some new stuff in. and then, of course, technical indicators. That's the big thing, is you share it with everyone else so that everyone can look for these things. Mm-hmm. And so thanks to them, everyone can now put these things in place. All of the different AI vendors, anyway, can try to put these things in place. More ways to, and of course they'll figure out ways to get around it, and then they'll put that in, and then they'll figure out ways to. It's kind of like the AI fighting the AI. We did an episode about that not too long ago. So it's like one person, full operational, and that person didn't have to really know much of anything. Just some basic things about how do I look for things on the internet. So if you're waiting around for when is this going to be happening, time's up. You are now officially right of boom that these things are coming.
And I think it's pretty safe to say that we're not going to stop the AI train. So
no,
it's here to stay, just like the internet was. I actually remember way back, when the internet first came out, that I don't remember how long it had been out, but I remember seeing this big write-up in the article somewhere that's like, the use of the internet is starting to decline, and we think the fad is going away. and I was like, what?
That's so funny, isn't it?
I know. So you probably can find that article out there somewhere, but there was a point where people thought, okay, it was fun. It's a cool new thing, but okay, let's move on.
Mm-hmm. Well, in a lot of ways, people are writing off AI in a lot of ways for that, but it will be a matter of time as these things progress, because, it can analyze itself.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can ask them, like, one of the things I was working on, I use multiple, it's this basically the same prompt. I want to compare this glossary to this document, make sure it's consistent, and I don't need to add anything. Okay, I'm going to run that same thing through multiple ones, and I'm going to get different output. It'll always be slightly different amongst them. So, anyhow, the good news... No, I don't think we have any good news here.
The good news is we're done.
Yeah. It's like, you're right. The train has left the station, and I think for the last, maybe started in 2023, and I would trying to bring this AI conversation into my presentations that I would do about cybersecurity and healthcare. And one of the slides I had was, the bullet train has left the station, and it was one of the bullet trains. And I'm like, this is not like, in the movies where you can run by the train and jump on. Whoosh, it's gone. So you got to start doing it. And again, cannot stress enough that if you don't have your hands around where AI is being used in your organization, you're already in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those people who are like, we don't use AI in our organization. I'm like, you might not. But I find it hard to believe that somebody's not.
Yeah, I mean, we just, we do those surveys, and we added to our survey that we do when we're doing an assessment that we send out to the users, and everybody's like, why do we have to do this? I was like, because you don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And that's the only way we'll find out. And sometimes it's little minor things that you didn't know they even needed. But if you ask, that's how you find out. And so we started asking, do you use AI? Do you put confidential information in it? And we were in a meeting with a group, it's a fairly nice sized group. And we're like, well, you got people using AI for like these 6 or 7 things, and you have 0 policies, 0 plans, nothing to do. And my favorite one was somebody, we asked, have you ever put confidential information in? And thankfully, this particular scenario wasn't healthcare, but have you put this in? And the person put, yes, I did, but I got supervisor approval from this person, and put their name. They knew, man. They knew.
Yeah.
So
maybe the question shouldn't be, are you using AI? Maybe the question should be, which AI tool are you using?
Yeah. How are you using it? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and assume you are.
Yeah. And that's true. What AI tool are you using? How are you using it? But if you don't take this seriously, it'll be like the people who didn't take the warnings over and over, and people didn't understand what ransomware was in the beginning, you remember? And then they got hit, and it was horrible. And then started telling other people, and now people actually understand what a ransomware attack can do. Because for a long time, it was just consumers. And then once they turned on businesses, people weren't grasping just how big this could be. So it's happening. Mm-hmm. You've got to be defending against it, or we might be talking about you on the podcast.
Said nobody ever.
I do like it when you get that question.
Yeah, that's my new leverage. Mm-hmm. If you don't do this, we're going to talk about you on the podcast.
Yeah, I've gotten text messages from people. Just listen to this episode. Thanks for talking about me. Yeah. I even raised my hand when you started and go, that's me.
Yeah. Or I like to tell people, I leave the names of the people out to protect the guilty.
That's it. Oh, well, with that said, I think we can roll up the carpet on this one.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Be sure to share this out to your favorite social media site. Leave us a rating and review. We appreciate those. And as always, for Donna and myself, remember that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.